I was not showering, like I was not eating. I lost so much weight. I weighed 85 pounds when I was 17. I was 5'4". Literally stopped taking care of myself. It got that bad. Hello, it is Poca Overwatch, and today I'll be telling you the story of my Overwatch slash video game addiction. So I'm going to be starting to post every week, usually a story time video or any sort of talking to the camera type video. So this is the first of many. This is a very important video that I'm making because I think it describes a lot of who I am as a person and something I've been going through for the past like 10 years. And so that's why I wanted to make this my first video in my like little YouTube series. It took me a long time to say that I had a video game addiction because I used to just say I just like playing video games. It's just a hobby of mine, and a lot of people fall into that, like not thinking it really affects them as much as it does. So I think this also brings a little bit of awareness. So I'm going to first start off at the beginning and what led me to have an Overwatch addiction. So I have autism. I was diagnosed when I was 20. I feel like everyone who has autism has been through different stages of how it affects them. When I was younger, it used to affect me a lot more than it does now. For example, I was not very communicative. I wouldn't talk to anybody besides maybe my mom or my brother. I literally just stayed silent, even to teachers and stuff. But then, like, as I grew up, I started to talk more, like, force myself to talk more. And I used to just, like, not be focused in class. I would always be doing my own thing. And that led to me not really having that many friends. And also me not really understanding what was wrong with me. My brother was my role model. I literally looked up to him for literally everything in life. I thought he was the coolest person. I wanted to be his best friend and to be like, oh, like, this is my sister, she's awesome. I don't want to be like the annoying little sister that I actually was really annoying. My brother always tried to introduce me to like some of his hobbies that he was into, and he's always been a huge gamer. So he built me a PC and I like helped him build the parts and stuff, and it made me really, really happy. And this was when I was 12 or 13. And at the time, I didn't really have many friends. I honestly wasn't going to school very much, and I was very, very isolated. Basically, he built me this PC. He said, there's a new game coming out, it's called Overwatch, me and my friends are playing it, let's play together. I was so excited to play with my brother and his friends, so I hopped on, and he said, oh, the easiest character is Mercy, so he put me on Mercy, and then I couldn't even play it right, so he's like, no, you have to play Lucio, just stand near me and you're doing something. I was just that bad at video games. It was my first ever game ever, really, besides from like Pokemon on the Game Boy or something like that. At this time, I was just like so focused on seeking his validation and being part of his like friend group. Then finally they were like, we can't play with your sister, she sucks, I'm sorry. So then I decided to get really good and like show them so that maybe they would want to play with me if I got really good. Went from like silver to like diamond when I was 13. They actually stopped playing Overwatch and they went back to the regular game, which was CS. So I was just like, okay, now what do? I've grinded all the way to play with them, and now I can't play with them. So I took a little bit of a break from Overwatch, and this isn't where the addiction started. It kind of starts when I was a little bit older. So when I was about 15 or 16, I was going to a school that was different than a public school. It was basically a school for kids with disabilities or behavioral problems. I stopped going to school, so they would send me to this other school basically, and I didn't really have many friends there at the start, and I was just really depressed. Like, I stopped going to school because I was depressed. I really just felt like I didn't know how to communicate with people. I had friends, but I didn't know how to maintain them, and it was just very difficult time in my life, and I was very, very hopeless and depressed. So I was at my PC one summer, and then I thought to myself, I'm so bored, what should I do? I have no schoolwork, I have nothing to do, I'm just depressed in my room, what should I do? So I hopped on Overwatch and I played, and I was like, this is such a throwback from when I used to play when I was 13. I actually really like this right now, it's like a bunch of fun. And I kept playing it, And it was at first to solve my boredom, but then it quickly evolved into something more. And what I mean by that is that by playing so much, I started to develop friendships in the game. So I would meet people I would queue into, and then we would play together. And it started this kind of environment for myself where I had a virtual life outside of my real life. And this life I like so much better. I mean, as a girl, especially on video games, you're kind of like treated a lot differently, sometimes worse, sometimes better. But I was getting a lot of attention, and something that doesn't usually happen to me. So I was getting a lot of attention. I felt like everyone liked me. Everyone was almost like competing for my attention back, and that like kind of like triggered something in me where I was like, whoa, I'm actually so valuable on the internet. Like, I'm not valuable in real life, but I'm valuable online. So I started getting really, really into this whole entire virtual world where I would make friends, I would date people, and I literally had detached myself from real life. It was to the point where I would only like put on makeup and stuff to appeal to people online. Like, I would look at pictures of girls on the internet and I would say, oh, I wish I was that pretty. I wanted to look like that. And it kind of developed into more of a like image dysphoria type of thing where I just felt really ugly all the time. I literally stopped caring about real life. I stopped really caring about school, about college, about all that stuff. I really just put all of myself into creating this image of myself online. I started streaming, I started posting on Twitter, and I just wanted to be the best Overwatch player I could be. I wanted to be the most pretty I could be. Like, I wanted it all. Like, I wanted all of that stuff. And I didn't care what anything happened in my real life. Like, I didn't care about any of that stuff anymore. I was so detached from reality, and I only cared about Overwatch, the internet, social media, and things like that. That became a really toxic addiction for me. Because usually how it works is if you are focused on real life, you would go to college and you would be focused on your studies and chasing your dream of whatever job you would want, and you would be focused on your friends that you meet at school and all these things. But I just felt so much that I failed so hard to do those normal things. I just felt like that part of my life was just hopeless. At this point, I was playing for maybe more than 12 hours a day. It wasn't just like a 4-6 hour session, it was more like a 12 to 24 hour sessions that I would do. And it was at this point where I kind of started neglecting myself. I was not showering, like I was not eating. I lost so much weight. I weighed 85 pounds when I was 17. I was 5'4". Literally stopped taking care of myself. It got that bad because all I wanted was just an escape from everything I fail at. As someone with autism, every day you go into life expecting to fail social situations, going to school, and like making friends. I have faced so many failures that most neurotypical people don't face as often. Like, it usually comes naturally. So, sure, you have some setbacks, sure, you have some disappointments, but every social interaction I've had in real life, I felt like I just failed at it. And I didn't know how to like stop failing. It just was not a key component in my brain that I had in me. I just had that missing. So online, I felt like I was successful in everything I did, making friends, getting higher rank, being popular, for example, something I've wanted since I was a kid. It was only at a point when I got really, really sick, where I couldn't play anymore, I couldn't be on social media as much as I wanted to. I'll post a story time about when I got cancer, but it was at that point where I was reassessing my whole entire life, and I realized, wow, I literally spent majority of my life playing a video game that nobody cares about in real life. I felt so frustrated because people that I did meet and tried to befriend, I want them to see how awesome I am on the internet. Like, look, I built this kind of image of myself on the internet, but they just didn't see that about me. And that's what frustrated, and I had to realize that the reason why they don't see that is because it's not real. Like, it doesn't matter at all because it's just not real concrete things that I have in my life. They're all online. Everything about me was kind of just all online. And it only took like a very life-changing crisis of mine for me to realize that something I've been putting all of my time into didn't matter to the majority of the people in the world. And it took me a while to develop my sense of self outside of being online. It took a lot of breaks from social media, a lot of breaks from Overwatch, and it really truly made me realize that I had such an addiction that I felt like my life revolved around something online. And that was very, very frustrating for me because I just felt like I wasted my life away. I wasted going to college, I wasted making real life friends and trying to build my social skills because basically I just quit trying to better myself because it was too difficult in my eyes, and I went to play video games instead. And because it was such an easy draw into video games, I just never stopped until it took something very, very impactful to make me realize how bad it got, you know? I realize now that I can still play Overwatch and have fun, but I'm not going to have these delusions. I used to base my value of my worth based on a number in a video game, my SR, my skill rating, and I used to think that if I was a low skill rating, I was less of a person. But these delusions, they made me keep playing, and they made me feel like I need to prove my worth. But none of that mattered because I was never building any skills in my real life. I was just deluded to think that I was building these skills on a video game, which is, you can maybe do that, but not to the degree to help myself with my social anxiety, my autism issues, and my issues making friends. So all of these things combined made my addiction very strong. But I was able to get out of it, and I've been working towards building things in my life now. Like, I'm going back to school, trying to have a different career, and I've been trying to build friendships in real life. And it took me realizing that I had an addiction and a problem in order to build real life connections. I think that's the most important part of this video. Sometimes you don't realize you have an addiction until it's a really bad problem and you've kind of wasted a lot of your time. So that's the end of my story. You could follow me and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to hear more stories about my life. But yeah,